I would like to start this family-friendly show by saying Ken's pull-out game is whack.
What? What do you mean?
This is what I mean. This is what I mean.
Where'd this come from?
Pull-out game is whack. Yeah, you think that's funny? It's true. So we've had 4 kids in, oh whoa. 3 feels like 4 because you're my 4th. We've had 3 kids in 4 years. And today we're going to be talking about our first 1,000 days as mom and dad.
1,000 days?
1,000 days. Parenthood is definitely not what we expected or what we were told it was going to be. So as soon as we found out we were pregnant, all we were hearing from like people that were already parents, from my clients, from like your friends was how hard it's going to be. You're never going to sleep anymore. It's so hard. You're going to have no money left in your bank account.
No money. You're going to gain weight. You're going to age
get
faster.
Fat. You're not, say goodbye to traveling, say goodbye to your freedom, say goodbye to everything that you know and love.
I wasn't even close to that.
And that's one of the main reasons I started this blog and my platform. It could have just been a regular beauty blog, but the reason I incorporated motherhood into it is because I wanted to show you guys a different side of it, the side that nobody talks about. So we were on a trip to Trinidad.
Yeah.
We were like driving to the beach one day and I just like grabbed his shirt and I was like, pull over. And I just like opened the door in the car and I'm vomiting. We like went back to the house and I'm telling grandma, I'm like, Grandma, I keep throwing up. Like I think I'm just like over dehydrated and all this like heavy food, all these curries, I'm not used to eating them. And she just smirked and she's like, you're pregnant. I was like, don't even joke with me like that. I called my mom and my sisters back home and I told them like what was happening and they were all like cracking up. They're like, you're so pregnant. And so we like come back to Toronto and they had like this whole basket of like baby stuff and like a pregnancy test inside this like baby basket because everybody was so sure I was pregnant. And my sisters are like, go take it now. And I was like, I very hesitantly took it and I wouldn't even read it. I gave it to my sister. I was just like, read it. And then she read it and all she did was smirk and smile and look at us and say congratulations. I guess it was just the excitement from both sides of the family that got us excited about it. So the pregnancy actually went by very smooth and went by very positive and I was super excited all of a sudden. All of the stress that I probably should have felt those 9 months was all compiled in those last 2 weeks. Those last 2 weeks were like hell. I'm like huge. I'm out here and my skin on my stomach got so thin that it got covered in pups, which is like a pregnancy rash. And the rash went all over my stomach, all over my chest, and it was working its way up my neck. I went into the hospital and I was like, we gotta get this baby out. So they actually ended up inducing me and
they sent us home.
They induced me, sent us home.
As soon as we get home, she just sat down and it's like, oh, time to go back.
My water broke, I got up, put my shoes back on, we got back in the car and went back to the hospital. And labor was actually pretty quick. It was about 4 hours. I think it's because I was induced that it helped. Everybody asks me till this day, how do I go through all of my labors without an epidural? And my first answer is my mom is my epidural. My mom just, has this way of like kind of coaching me through my deliveries where it's just the way she touches me. It just kind of relaxes my body and I break every single bone in Ken's hand. So I kind of, I'll hold his hand until his fingers are breaking because that's where I'll be releasing all of my pain. And my mom whispering the prayers in my ears are the only thing that I close my eyes and I concentrate on. And then I'll have like a flood of nurses around me doing everything else. They're turning my body where it needs to go. They're telling me, exactly what to do. And I remember this nurse, this magical nurse from heaven, she was basically like a second mom. Like I remember going back after I delivered and I wrote her a letter and I was crying writing this letter thanking her because she taught me how to give birth. She was teaching me how to breathe through the pain as opposed to wasting my energy screaming. She was like rubbing my leg for me and like it was just such a beautiful, supportive, positive environment for me while I was giving birth. Like I even remember with like Zayden, like my second baby, my labor with him was the longest out of all 3 labors. It was 8 hours in and I remember getting to a point where I was like, Mom, I think I was like 5 hours in and I was like, Mom, I need the epidural. I can't do this. And Mom was literally like, sit your butt down. Your body was designed for this. You're gonna get through this. Just cope. And she had me walking. She was setting the tone. She was rubbing my back. She was staying calm. So she was helping me stay calm. And then the nurse came in and they put me in this like hot bath. And it's like, soon as you get into this hot bath, your muscles go from being like so clenched to like completely relaxed, you know? If it wasn't for that, I would not be able to go epidural free all 3 times with my pregnancies, because they support you so much. All you have to do, and I know it's not anything small, all you have to do is push the baby out. They do everything else. Like my mom would tell me like her experience giving birth in like Saudi Arabia, and she was just sitting there in awe with her jaw dropped watching me give birth, and she was just like, Ariba, you guys are in heaven. The amount of support and healthcare that you guys are getting. She's like, we would like lay there alone. They don't allow the men into like the labor rooms. She had to do it by herself. She gave birth on a bed with like, that was just like lined up with other beds, and everybody was screaming. So it's like, how do you get into your meditative state to cope with epidural free labor like I did, when you have all these people screaming and coping differently and all of these energies around you? There's so many places around the world that are like that, you know? I think the fact that I didn't have the epidural allowed me to listen to my body. I think that if I had numbed everything, I wouldn't know when to push. I wouldn't know what my body wants me to do. So during the strongest contractions, when you just like let your body go and you fall into the pain, it for some really weird reason feels good. And when you like tense up, it just, you're making your labor longer, and B, this baby is not going to come out if you're all tense. You need to like relax your muscles and loosen your body and allow this baby to come out, you know? And so this is what my mom and my nurses were teaching me to do, and they were helping me cope through that. They were helping me relax through the most pain I've ever, you can't, anybody that's given birth, you can't describe the pain. It's the most painful thing ever. You can't describe it in words, so I'm not even going to try to describe it to you, but the only way to cope from that is to just fall into it, and kind of, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide from it, it's happening, so you have to gain control. I just wanted it to be over as fast as possible. So she was telling me, every time the contractions happen, I need you to push. And she was like, don't push unless I tell you to, or else you're gonna rip. And I didn't rip, and I'm very small framed, and this baby was very big. And I somehow did not rip in any of my pregnancies. Not a single stitch, all 3 times. I don't know why. It was like the peak of my pain, and baby had just like crowned. And I remember smiling. And I remember all of the nurses looking at mom and being like, look at her, she's smiling. And all I remember saying is, I can feel her. I can feel the baby. And it was the most excruciating pain at this point. And this was like the ring of fire that everybody was talking about, that is supposed to be like hell on earth. And I feel like because it's painted so negatively, that even when you're in it, you just expect it to be this horrific experience. And it really isn't. It's like, yeah, it hurts, but it's also freaking magical to feel that for the first time. And in my ring of fire, I was literally smiling. As soon as they would like pass the baby onto me, they just like throw this slimy little gooey thing right onto your chest. And I remember the first time they threw Aliana onto my chest. What did you feel when they passed Aliana?
Aliana came out with her head, like it looked like a football.
Like a cone.
Yeah, it was like a cone. So I was like to the doctor, I was like, is the baby supposed to be like that?
I know, and I'm laying there, and I'm like looking at, I can't see the baby. They take the baby out, and I'm looking at his face, and all I can do is read his reaction, and they take the baby out, and I'm expecting him to be like, oh my god, and he's just like...
No, the body looked normal, but the head was like...
And he's like, and all he says in this beautiful magical moment is it supposed to look like that?
it was like long. The head was like this long.
It was not this long. Like they passed her to me, and she just went straight on, latched it on right away. And then my mom laughed, and she was like, oh my god, this baby's hungry just like Ken.
Oh, we like food.
I was just like, this is so weird. I just remembered, I remember my head being like, is it weird that I don't have this magical moment that everybody keeps telling me I'm gonna have? Because I was just confused. I didn't know how to hold her. And the sensation was weird because they latched her on right away. I don't even know what happened. Like, the nurses like cleaned me up so fast and like wrapped up the baby, cleaned the baby, did what they had to do, wrapped her up beautifully, passed her to me, and now they're wheeling us into my room. And like the main focus was for me and the baby to just rest. And it was just so funny because the nurse comes in and she's like, her diaper is extremely full. And I was like, I don't know how to change a diaper. And so this nurse is like, that's okay, honey, I can show you. And so she shows me how to change the diaper, and I wake him up, I'm like, get up. Watching her handle the baby was teaching me how to handle the baby, you know? Because like, I feel like you can read all the books in the world, but until you like physically see somebody doing it, you don't really understand, you know? Because it's something about like the essence and like the way that they're doing it physically to a real baby that makes you learn. You know, we just stayed up all night staring at her because we were just like, I couldn't stop staring at her. She was our first baby, and we were just so happy. The first 1,000 days and the first like few years of like a baby's life are so crucial, I think, in like not only their development, but as our development as parents, you know, and where you are mentally is going to 150% affect this baby. It's no longer going to be about us and our happiness. But what people don't tell you is that your happiness now is not in all of those things that you think you're going to miss by becoming a parent. Your happiness now is 150% consumed by the happiness of your offspring. Everybody has noise in their life, and it's how you cope with that noise for the sake of your children that is going to get you through this. You have to kind of learn to not let outside things affect you. And it's so much easier said than done, but once you master that and you are able to 150% block things out that you don't want to see or hear and no longer acknowledge their existence and only focus on the task at hand, the task that needs to get done. And I think learning that lesson was like a key factor for us. We are 100% all they want and need, and they're obsessed with us. The least thing we can do is like be obsessed back. Enjoy it. You know, that's why I nurse them, because they never clench you like that. They never hold on to you like that ever again. Like, this is the only time in our life that we're gonna have this. So why would I cut that short, or why would I focus on anything else but them? Entering motherhood surrounded by like such a positive and supportive situation, it really set the tone for motherhood and parenthood. Things that we had access to in our early stages of parenthood were like the factor between life and death in so many scenarios. Like, Zayden was one of our babies that had jaundice, and he had really low blood pressure because he was born underweight. So like 2-3 weeks we had to keep going back to the hospital for his jaundice. So many times. And they took him in right away. They treated him. And I would cry the whole time. Oh God, I would cry the whole time because he's so tiny. But they took so good care of him. Yeah. You remember him laying under that light? Yeah. And like they would like poke his tiny foot, his teeny tiny foot. I would cry. I would cry so much. It was so hard to watch. But I knew he was in good hands. And I knew he was being taken care of. And so when I came across World Vision and their 6-year initiative for the 1,000-day journey that they're working on with the Canadian government, I was like, I'm so all in. We are actually working together with World Vision, who is being funded by the Canadian government for a 6-year initiative to bring access to healthcare to more vulnerable countries like Tanzania, Kenya, Myanmar, Bangladesh. And this initiative is supposed to support new moms. And it's supposed to bring them access to nutritional health, to healthcare for their children, their new babies, healthcare for the mom, and just like overall education. We're definitely going to be supporting them, and we're going to leave the link for it down below in the description. So if you guys want to check it out and show your love and support, that would be amazing. And if you guys want to see more story times from us, make sure you guys give us tons of feedback down below. Leave us love in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you guys check out the link down below for World Vision as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Do you guys hear Zayden screaming in the back?
He wants to go to the park.
He wants to go to the park. He's like struggling putting his shoes on right now. So we're gonna go help Zayden put his shoes on and take him to the park so he stops screaming in the back of our video. And we will see you guys on the next one. Bye.